First crucial I want. No, similarly. Comfort. With him, you inform him from me that he can live or he can die. Vincent, will you? Close up in 2020. Al Pacino's coronary heart stopped beating. Paramedics delivered him lower back, but something modified. Forever. At 84, the person who gave us The Godfather lives a life. Nobody predicted broke after losing $50 million doing films he hates to live on, and becoming a dad at 83 with a woman buddy more youthful enough to be his granddaughter. From DNA check drama to his dark beliefs about death. Right here's why. Hollywood's pleasant actor is now its loneliest. Al Pacino have become born on April 25, 1940 in East Harlem, New York City. His mother and father, Rosa Girardi and Salvatore Pacino, were Sicilian immigrants trying to construct a lifestyles in America. Their marriage did now not very last lengthy. Whilst Pacino became truly 2 years antique, his father left for California to work as an insurance salesman that left Pacino's mom to improve. Him on my own in the South Bronx with the assist of his grandparents, Kate and James Girardi, that they had come from Corleone, Sicily, a metropolis that might later come to be well known due to the Godfather existence in the Bronx at some stage in the 1940s and 50s became hard. His own family struggled with cash, and his father's absence created an opening that never certainly closed, but his mother gave him some aspect that might form his destiny. She cherished films and regularly took him to the theater, where he have been given misplaced in the testimonies on display screen, appearing worried. Him even earlier than he understood what it simply have become. Those early trips to the films planted a seed that could later develop into a lifelong passion. As he were given, older Pacino have become called Sonny. Amongst his pals, he had a wild facet and modified into, always pushing barriers. By the time he changed into 9, he had already commenced smoking, and consuming. Through 13, he become experimenting with marijuana. He had little hobby in school, and have become continuously in problem fights. Skipping magnificence and breaking guidelines became a everyday. He changed into expelled from more than one faculties, earlier than entering into the high school of performing arts. It appear just like the right vicinity for someone like him, but he didn't live lengthy at 17 after a fight collectively along with his mom about his future. He dropped out without an excessive school degree and no constant method. He spent his teenage years drifting. He ran with the institution of friends who, like him, had no real direction. Some were given into trouble, some have become to drugs. 3 of his closest pals, Cliffy Bruce and Pye, should later die from drug overdoses. Pacino have to have with out difficulty ended up the same manner. But something saved him. Going acting became in breakout a manner to awareness. His restless electricity on something large than himself. He later said that if it weren't for appearing, he might not have made it out in any respect. Then came the losses that modified him all the time. In 1962, while Pacino became simply 22, his mother died. At the age of 43, she had struggled with despair for years, and her death hit him greater difficult than something earlier than simplest a year. Later, his grandfather James, who had been like a father to him, additionally handed away. Inside the span of 12 months, the 2 maximum crucial humans in his lifestyles were gone. He later called that time the bottom thing of his existence. He felt misplaced, like there was nothing left to maintain directly. To some years later in his memoir, Sonny Boy, named after the nickname his mom gave him, he wrote about his pain. If I am fortunate, sufficient, probable, I'll reunite with my mom there. All I want is the chance to walk as a good deal as her and surely say, hi there. Massey, what happened, Tome? After dropping his mom and grandfather, Pacino threw himself into acting. It wasn't easy. He took any task. He may additionally want to find out janitor, busboy, messenger, postal clerk virtually to pay for appearing instructions. He studied at HB Studio in Greenwich Village, in which he met Charlton, an appearing trainer who might grow to be taken into consideration, one in every of his closest mentors. But cash have become constantly a hassle. There were nights whilst the had nowhere to move, he slept on friends' couches on occasion, even in theaters. When he had nowhere else to live, at some stage in the early 1960s, he became so broke that he had to sleep at the streets at the identical time. As taking some factor small roles, he may also need to find in underground theater productions. Al Pacino's career took a foremost flip in 1968. Even as he starred within the Indian Dreams, the Bronx, an off-Broadway play. Written through Israel Horovitz, it premiered on January 17th at the Astor Place Theater in New York City and ran for 177 performances. His portrayal of Murph had a raw strength that felt unstable but strangely human. He wasn't just playing a violent troublemaker, he come to be showing the layers underneath the aggression critics took word, and so did the employer. He received the Obie Award for Great Actor. His co-superstar John Cazale received Great Helping Actor, and Horovitz acquired one for Extremely Good New Playa. Few factor even more important took place. Behind the scenes, the Indian Desires the Bronx changed into staged along some other Horovitz play. It's known as The Sugar Plum, starring Jill Clayburgh, who ended up Pacino's romantic accomplice. At the time, via this production, Pacino met Martin Bregman, someone who would change his life. Bregman saw something special in him and became his manager. He could later help Pacino land a number of his maximum iconic roles in The Godfather, Serpico, and Dog Day Afternoon. However, Pino later stated that, without Bregman, his career won't have occurred the manner it did. Only 12 months later, Pacino made his Broadway debut, Indo's A Tiger Where, a Nekti, the play written via Don Peterson, opened on the Belasco Theater in 1969. It instructed the tale of youngsters, drug addicts in a rehabilitation, middle tackling issues of dependency and redemption. Pacino accomplished Bickham, a younger addict with a tough outdoors hiding, deep emotional wounds. The production, Simplest, ran for 39 performances after 9 previews, but it left a long-lasting impact. Jack Kroll from Newsweek referred to as him a hood with a poetic soul range, named him the most promising new Broadway actor at just 29, and he gained the Tony Award for Exquisite Featured Actor in a play that second changed the whole lot. Pacino's capability to convey good deal intensity to his roles came from years of schooling. He had studied below Lee Strasberg on the Actor Studio in New York City, one of the maximum official performing faculties inside the International. Strasberg became a hold close of method performing education actors to tap into their very personal feelings to create practical performances. Pacino later said that education with Strasberg gave him the self-belief to pursuing full-time. Al Pacino's journey to playing Michael Corleone in The Godfather wasn't simply difficult. It emerged as a conflict. These days, his universal overall performance is well known. However, again, in 1972, the concept of casting him almost derailed the entire production. Paramount Pictures wanted a bankable famous individual, someone like Jack Nicholson, Warren Beatty, Robert Redford, or Ryan O'Neal. Pacino at the time emerged as slightly stated he had best one film credit and a robust theater ancient past, but that wasn't sufficient for the studio. They didn't see him as a primary man. They wanted a person, taller, someone who informed the Hollywood image of a celebrity. Francis Ford Coppola perception. In any other case, he had visible Pacino on Broadway and believed he turned out to be a deal for Michael Corleone. He observed something in Pacino that no one else did: the capability to seize Michael's transformation from an harmless conflict hero to a ruthless mafia boss. Coppola refused to backpedal. Main 2 limitless fights with the studio at One Factor. Paramount tested James Caan for the location of Michael and gave Coppola an ultimatum. Pacino should live, however pleasant, if Caan finished. Sonny Corleone, even after filming, commenced out the studio. Despite the fact that wasn't convinced, they watched early snapshots of Pacino's general performance and wanted him lengthy past Coppola knew he needed to reveal Pacino's worth. And fast he determined to movie the eating place assassination scene earlier than planned. It grew to be a pivotal moment, Michael's first actual step into the Mafia International. Even as the Paramount executives saw it everything modified, they in the end understood what Coppola had seen all along. Pacino wasn't simply suitable, he have become unforgettable from that second on. His location in the movie end up secure. That position changed the whole thing for him. His general overall performance earned him an Academy Award nomination for Pleasant Supporting Actor. Despite the fact that many believed he should have been within the wonderful actor class, he boycotted the ceremony in protest, refusing to attend because he felt sidelined. But even without the win, his careers skyrocketed. The Godfather grossed over $250 million in opposition to a $6 million price range. One fine image on the Oscars and made Pacino a superstar. His portrayal of Michael was praised for its quiet depth, the manner he may need to communicate, plenty with best a look that chilling stare at a few stage in the restaurant scene have become one in every of cinema's maximum iconic moments, but getting there wasn't clean. Pacino later admitted he changed into terrified during filming. The pressure modified into overwhelming. The constant danger of being fired loomed over him, making it difficult to attention. He even suffered intense ankle harm while filming a getaway scene. The ache ended up so full. He needed injections just to hold. Going strangely, his first response to the injury modified into comfort. He idea it would possibly get him fired, which at the time seemed easier than managing the strain of proving himself. Cop knew how. Plenty Pacino have become struggling, and did the whole lot he should to help. He adjusted the filming time desk to provide him more time to settle into the position. He additionally leaned on Diane, Caton Pacino's co-famous person who've become his emotional help on set. She helped lighten the temper, and they frequently laughed together after tough scenes. Pacino could later say that without Cop's belief in him, he might also never have made it through. In Serp 1973, Pacino starred as Frank Serpico, Aerial Lifestyle's NYPD officer, who blew the whistle on corruption within the department. Pacino organized for the characteristic by way of spending time with the actual Serpico, gaining knowledge of how he spoke and moved, have favored to apprehend the deep enjoy of isolation that got here. Withstanding towards his fellow officers, the manufacturing faced worrying situations. From the begin, John G. Olson changed into set to direct, but he come to be changed through loomed genuinely earlier. Then filming the shoot occurred within the summer season of 1973, with actual New York streets supplying the backdrop, the heat blended with Lumet's rapid-paced directing. Fashion created and severe ecosystem. On set, Pacino's performance earned him an Academy Award nomination and a Golden Globe win with a rate range of just a few million. The movie made almost $30 million on the Container Office over the years. Serpico have emerged as a defining film inside the crime style, and Pacino's portrayal remains one of the simplest in his career. A decade later, Pacino took on one of his maximum iconic roles in Scarface, 1983. He performed Tony Montana, a Cuban refugee who rises to electricity in Miami's drug. Alternate the movie direct ed through Brian De Palma, and written by using the usage of Oliver Stone, changed into inspired via the 1932 classic, however became updated for the extra and violence of the 80s. Tony Montana is brutal, ambitious, and unrelenting. From the immediately he arrives inside the United States, he is determined to take something he goals. Pacino threw himself into the feature, crafting each detail of Tony's persona, his accent, his mannerisms, even the way he held a gun, all were cautiously planned throughout filming. He suffered a severe burn on his hand after grabbing the barrel of a hot gun. The damage no longer on time manufacturing, but confirmed his strength of mind to making the character sense real. The film confronted backlash upon release. Critics attacked its extreme violence and heavy use of profanity. The Cuban community in Miami, moreover, protested its portrayal of immigrants, forcing factors of the film to be shot in Los Angeles. Alternatively, the controversy did not prevent Scarface from locating and target promote. It grossed $66 million worldwide and became a cult traditional. Tony Montana's rise and fall serve as a cautionary tale. Approximately greed and strength traces, like Say Howdy to My Little Buddy, have become mythical, and the films have an impact on stretched into hip-hop, video games, and popular culture over time. Scarface changed into identified as one of the satisfactory gangster films ever made in 1992. Pacino performed a totally precise type of character in Scent of a Woman, a position that subsequently received him an Academy Award for high-quality actor. He starred as Lieutenant Colonel Frank Slade, a blind and bitter Army veteran who spends a weekend with a young prep school pupil named Charlie, played via Chris O'Donnell. The film follows their journey as Slade teaches Charlie approximately life while secretly scuffling with his non-public inner darkness. To put together for the placement, Pacino wore opaque touch lenses to block his imaginative and prescient hues decane, despite the fact that the cameras were no longer rolling to make his blindness experience herbal. His performance balanced humor and intensity, making Slade actually considered one of the most memorable characters of his career. One of the film's most famous moments is the tango scene, where Slade, regardless of his blindness, leads a more youthful female in an extremely good dance. At the same time as Scarface hit theaters in 1983, it caused an uproar. Critics attacked it for intense violence, normal profanity, and what they observed Ace a glorification of drug way of life, the chainsaw scene, which takes location just 20 minutes into the film. Taken aback audiences, some like writers Kurt Vonnegut and John Irving even walked out of screenings. However, the talk didn't prevent there. Many Cuban immigrants in Miami protested, arguing that the film portrayed them as criminals and drug traffickers. They believed it reinforced risky stereotypes, turning their community into the face of Miami's drug trade, even Hollywood. Insiders saw hassle coming. Martin Scorsese reportedly warned Stephen Bauer, who executed Tony Montana's first-rate friend, that Hollywood would hate the movie as it exposed their very own corruption. However, it changed into a #1 achievement, grossing over $134 million international in competition to a $31 million rate range. Pacino's common overall performance ended up celebrated, and his individual's signature phrase HA have turned out to be immediately recognizable. His Oscar win have become visible as prolonged overdue worthwhile, an actor who had already brought a number of the greatest performances in film statistics through the years. The movie observed a second existence. It have ended up a cult conventional, especially in hip-hop and Latino communities, wherein Tony Montana symbolized ambition and defiance that rise in reputation. Simplest fueled debates. Did Scarface warn in the direction of more? Or had it come to be an image of the very factor it condemned? Even now the talk continues, proving that a few movies by no means lose their impact. Years later, Pacino took on some other debatable characteristic in HBO's Pacino, a 2018 movie about the Penn State child abuse scandal. It targeted on a critical, weak period in 2011, while Jopno, a soccer legend with over 400 career wins, noticed his recognition destroyed. His former assistant, Jerry Sandusky, had been arrested for sexually abusing younger boys. Sandusky was later sentenced to 30 to 60 years in prison. The movie raised one haunting question: how a goodbye did now understand Pacino's overall performance captured someone torn amongst his soccer empire and the developing scandal in a unmarried scene. Pacino recalls a 2001 report from an assistant train who had visible Sandusky molesting a boy in a crew bathe. Pacino knowledgeable university officials, however, in no manner accompanied up that selection overshadowed everything he had built. Critics praised Pacino for showing Paterno's internal warfare, but the movie itself left audiences divided. A few noticed Pacino as a scapegoat, while others believed he had turned a blind eye. Over 300 of his former gamers protested the film, claiming it unfairly destroyed his legacy. Truly, months after being fired from Penn State, Pacino died of lung-most cancers at age 85. The movie did not take an aspect, rather, it compelled site visitors to decide whether Pacino come to be accountable of state of no interest, or certainly stuck in a tool that failed everybody. Pacino stepped into every other controversial function in 2013 with HBO's Phil Spector. The movie explored the existence of the mythical track producer diagnosed for revolutionizing sound inside the 1960s, and for his weird non-public existence in 2003, Spector became accused of murdering actress Lana Clarkson at his mansion. The movie centered on his relationship with defense prison expert Linda Kenny Bowden, carried out with the useful resource of Helen Mirren, who questioned whether or not he could get a fair trial, unlike in regular courtroom docket drama. Phil Spector did not attention at the crook conflict. Instead, it confirmed a man losing manipulate of his non-public narrative. Become he a misunderstood genius, or was he precisely what the world believed? The movie by no means gave a clean solution, leaving audiences as conflicted as they had been at the same time as the case first made headlines. Off-screen, Pacino confronted his very own actual life drama. In 2011, he discovered he'd misplaced $50 million. His longtime accountant, Kenneth Starr, were jogging a Ponzi scheme. Pacino, who had spent many years earning millions consistent with movie, became almost worn out in a single day. Starr had built a recognition ace depended on monetary guide handling cash for Hollywood's largest stars backstage. He had been stealing from them. Even as the scheme collapsed, he ended up arrested and sentenced to 7 years in prison. Pacino returned from an highly priced European vacation, only to examine the cash turn out to be lengthy past. In his memoir Sonny Boy, he described the on-the-spot he observed out the whole quantity of the betrayal. I had 50 million and then I had nothing to recover. Pacino took on unexpected projects. He starred in Jack and Jill, a movie he later admitted he best did for the paycheck he took. Speaking in engagements, or maybe seemed in advertisements, he called that time a crazy montage of felony recommendations. However, within the cease It taught him resilience even on the top of Hollywood. No one is untouchable. Al Pacino has by no means been just an actor. He has always been a storyteller. Someone who appears for, which means in the roles he plays and the projects he's taking, on his passion. For performing goes beyond acting. He desires to apprehend the craft, ruin it down, and percentage it with others. That electricity led him to step inside the again of the camera. His first primary venture as a director changed into Looking for Richard in 1996. This changed into no longer a traditional movie. It changed right into a documentary. A overall performance and a non-public journey, all in on Pacino desired to expose why Shakespeare. Nonetheless, topics he selected. Richard III, a play approximately, energy and ambition, and set out to reveal that its issues nevertheless resonate the movie movements between one and all a kind styles. There are dramatized scenes from Richard III with actors like Alex Stanley, Stanley Baldwin, Winona Ryder, and Kevin Spacey. There are interviews with scholars and actors together. With Kenneth Branagh and Vanessa Redgrave, the movie modified right into a fulfillment. It received the Directors Guild of America Award for First-Rate Directorial Fulfillment in a documentary in 1997. Critics praised it for making Shakespeare accessible and engaging. Peter Travers defined it as a splendid adventure, an outrageous a laugh. 4 years later, in 2000, he directed Chinese Espresso. This was a completely precise form of task it grow to be, now not approximately records or literature. It end up about guys sitting in a room talking. The movie was adapted from a play through Ira Lewis, and Pacino had achieved it on degree. In 1992, the tale follows Harry Levine, a suffering creator played by the usage of Pacino, and Jake Mannheim, a photographer played by using manner of Jerry Orbach, set in 1982 in Greenwich Village. It takes vicinity over a single night time as the two friends have a protracted and a moderate communique. It premiered on the Torrey to Film competition in 2000 and was later screened on the Tribeca Phil Film Festival. It did no longer attain a huge target market. However, folks who noticed it preferred its honesty. It have become ultimately released on DVD in 2007 as part of an area set titled Pacino, an Actor's Vision, giving more people the chance to peer. This hidden gem beyond directing, Pacino has spent years shaping the following generation of actors. While you don't forget that 2000, he has been co-president of the Actors Studio alongside Facet, Ellen Burstyn, and Harvey Keitel. This isn't just any performing university. It is the place in which a number of the satisfactory actors in fact trained. Pacino himself studied there. Beneath legends like Lee Strasberg and Charlie Hilton, he has usually said that the studio modified his lifestyles. Now he allows it do the same for others. For Pacino, the Actors Studio is a place in which actors can take risks. It isn't approximately recognition or success. It is about pushing yourself, about learning without fear. Plenty of Hollywood's best capabilities, which includes James Dean, Marilyn Monroe, Paul Newman, and Jack Nicholson, got here from this faculty. Pacino keeps to guide young actors through workshops and discussions. He does no longer just train technique. He encourages them to study, to count on, to explore philosophy and literature. He believes that performing isn't just about overall performance. It's miles, approximately, knowledge, existence. Al Pacino has spent a whole lifestyles inside the spotlight. But on the subject of marriage, he in no way took that step, irrespective of excessive profile relationships with Diane Keaton Beverly. D'Angelo and Kathleen Quinlan. He remained a lifelong bachelor in his 2024 memoir, Sonny Boy. He described why he no way saw marriage as something that would possibly assist his lifestyles. He even called it an entrance to the pain train. His views on commitment had been formed by the use of personal fears, and no dating ever modified. That this time with Diane Keaton is virtually one and all Hollywood's most famous love memories. They met on the equal time as filming The Godfather in 1972. She found him charming. However, additionally mysterious, their relationship lasted on and rancid for years. But through 1990, Heaton had enough whilst filming The Godfather. Part 3, she gave him an ultimatum: dedicate, or it is over. Pacino refused, and he or he walked away. Any other extreme relationship came in advance with Kathleen Quinlan. They met in 1979 at a celebration hosted with the aid of performing coach Lee Sturg. The two have been inseparable for years, even visiting throughout Europe together. Pacino later admitted that Quinlan modified into the closest he ever came to marriage. However, in the long run, he subsidized out. It became a preference that left him Heartbroken for years, though he in no way married fatherhood, have become critical a part of his life. In June 2023, at the age of 83, he welcomed his fourth baby, a son named Roman, with 29,365 days old Noah Lala. The records greatly surprised many, particularly after reviews surfaced that Pacino requested a paternity take a look at. He absolutely did not recollect. He can also want to still have kids. Even as the effects confirmed, Roman emerged as his. He embraced fatherhood. Again, Pacino and Alala started relationship. In 2020, all through the pandemic, however, their courting wasn't public till April 2022. Their 365 days age gap drew hobby. Although Alala have become diagnosed for courting older guys she had been related to MC Jagger and Clint Eastwood in The Beyond. Roman is her first infant, but Pacino already had 3 twins. Anton James and Olivia Rose, born in 2001 with Beverly D'Angelo, and his eldest daughter Julie Marie, born in 1989 with appearing Train Jantarant, becoming a father over again at 83 modified his life. His personal father deserted him while he have become younger and had never desired to copy that cycle. Even after setting apart from Alala, he remained concerned. He connects with Roman via video calls, and the two even play harmonica together at 84. Pacino continues to be jogging in 2021. Starred in House of Gucci, and his upcoming initiatives show he has no plans to gradual down. One of the most predicted is Modi, a film about Italian artist Amedeo Modigliani directed through Johnny Depp. The movie follows 3 intense days in Modigliani's lifestyles as he struggle, along with his artwork and private demons. Pacino, likewise starring in The Ritual, a horror film primarily based on the genuine story of Emma Schmidt's exorcisms. The film, set for release on April 18, 2025, follows priests appearing risky exorcisms at the same time as fighting their very personal pasts. Beyond that, he's worried in Billy Knight, and killing Castro, proving his ardor for storytelling is as robust as ever. For Pacino, performing isn't always only a career, it's my lesson thing that stored him going through the toughest moments of his lifestyles here. Regularly says it saved his existence. His existence has had its share of struggles in 2020. A close to loss of life experience modified his outlook for all time at some stage in an infection. He misplaced his pulse and needed to be revived through paramedics. After that, he became glad there was no afterlife. It became a notion he shared brazenly at this degree. In lifestyles, Pacino stays active nonetheless. A father, and despite the fact that reflecting on the whole lot he has been through, he in no way accompanied the conventional course, but that in no way stopped him from living a complete lifestyles, whether or now not on display or off. He stays one of the most captivating figures in Hollywood.